Hey guys, my name is Dani. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've all had a really lovely Easter and I hope you've had a nice break if you've gone away. I've been away down in the South Island of New Zealand for the past week, just relaxing. And if you want to see what I got up to, I'm going to do a little shameless Instagram plug here because I never talk about my Instagram. If you want to get to know me a little bit more, I would love it if you want to follow my Instagram account. Anyway, today's video is going to be about how to save money for long-term travel. So this is something that I am personally working on right now because in the next year or so, I want to go traveling for not just a week, not just a month, but actually like a really big portion of the entire year. So I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how I'm going to make that happen with you guys today. Before we get into the video, I would love it if you leave me a comment down below just telling me where you want to travel to next. And yeah, I just find it really interesting. So my place that I want to travel to next is Bali, Australia or Hawaii. So watch this space. So let's jump straight on into it. I want you guys to know that you as an individual prioritize what you want in life. And if what you want out of life is to travel and explore the world and spend a good amount of time doing so, then if you make that the top of your priority list, I'm telling you, you can make it happen. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you don't have the best paying job. As long as you are great at planning, budgeting, and following these tips and tricks, I'm sure that we can get your travel dreams to happen. It also depends how you personally want to travel. For instance, most of us working 9-to-5s only get like 2 to 4 weeks vacation a year, and we just drop a few $1,000s easily on those trips, and that's about it. And we kind of spend a lot of money in a short period of time. But if you're someone like me who does want to travel for months at a time, there are definitely ways to do it that are super low cost. For example, there's woofing, which I want to go and do in Hawaii next year, and I have done previously in California. It's where you work on a fruit farm in exchange for your accommodation and food, or really any type of farm, but that's just an example. I will go into that in another video. The truth is that you can travel the world for long periods of time. It's just all about how you want to travel and if you can be smart with your money. For instance, if you want to stay in 5-star hotels in the middle of massive cities and have a pool and all of that jazz, that is going to add up. But if you're someone who can shop around for the best deal, doesn't mind staying in a hostel or maybe living in a van or something a bit alternative, you can absolutely save money that way. So the number one thing I think is really important in terms of saving money for long-term travel is to set goals for yourself. So if you don't have goals, you don't really have a clear direction of where you're going, and what that means is when you're out on the weekends, you kind of just end up spending money and just, you don't think too much about it. You're like, oh, I've got all this money in my bank account, and it just disappears. We all know that feeling, right? But if you've got a really strict goal in mind, if you're going to say, hey, I want to make $5,000 so I can go and tour Southeast Asia for a month or whatever it may be, then you know you've got that goal in mind, and you can set aside a certain amount of money each week until you reach that goal, and just absolutely stick to that budget. So I'd recommend making a plan and a budget and then doing everything you can to stick to it and set yourself goals in terms of how much money you want saved by certain periods of time, so you know you're going to be prepared and you know it's something that's going to be achievable for you. It's also important to remember that it isn't always just going to happen overnight. Planning ahead and booking ahead is the absolute best thing you can do. If possible, try to book everything 6 months in advance. I know that seems like a lot, but if you really want to save money, that minimum of 6-month period will totally get you the cheaper deals on your accommodation and activities and everything involved with the trip. You have to commit to the travel saving lifestyle. At first this may be hard, but I truly believe it's all about your habits and adjusting them so you form new, healthier habits that are easier on your bank account. So by this I just mean not going out every single weekend, not eating out all the time, saying no to those morning coffees, which totally do add up. Try and get creative and even grow your own food if you can have a veggie garden, and try to just cook at home as much as you possibly can, because you definitely save money that way. You don't necessarily have to say no to all social events, but it's more so learning about the free things that you can do in your town or city where you live. Can you go hiking? Can you go to a farmer's market and save money on produce there rather than the supermarket? Can you have a potluck dinner or cook dinner at a friend's house instead of going out? There's all sorts of things you can do. You've just got to get creative, and it's absolutely worth doing. Another example is with clothing. I used to spend quite a lot of money on clothing, but nowadays I'm really strict on what I can buy, because every time I'm tempted to buy clothing, I just remind myself, what do I think is cooler? This materialistic item or an experience of a lifetime? And when you start saying no to more of these purchases, you really do realize how much shit you have that you don't need at all. So following on from that, I am trying to live a minimalistic lifestyle and only purchase things with intention and longevity in mind. So for example, when I'm thinking about buying that new sweater, I'll ask myself if I can see myself using this on my future trips and how long I think it's going to last for. And if it's any less than a year, then I say no. I would totally encourage all of you guys to try to be more minimalist. And being a minimalist doesn't mean you have to only have 5 things in your possession. I still own a lot of things, but it just means being minimal on a personal level. What is it that you just don't need, or what doesn't add value to your life? And those things that don't add value, you can get rid of them, stop purchasing them, donate them, or sell them and make some more money for your travels. Another tip is to try to have multiple income streams. This is such a good one. I mean, imagine if you just lost your job out of nowhere, and yeah, a lot of people would be completely stuck in that situation. So if you can, it's really awesome to be able to have a side hustle which could also earn you more money. For instance, I work full-time right now, but I do YouTube as a side hustle, and I do earn a bit of money from YouTube, which I'm trying to keep working on to build up my social media because I love it and it's another income stream. As well as that, I would maybe love to start a business, and that's something you could do as well. It doesn't have to be this huge crazy thing. You could just be selling jewelry you make on the side or anything really. But if you can think of a way to have another source of income, no matter how small it may be, that is totally going to benefit you. Another thing is to remind yourself why you are doing this. When it's tempting to spend money on other things, just ask yourself, what is it that I want out of life? What is it that I truly care about? And if it's materialistic things, then maybe the long-term travel lifestyle isn't for you. Another thing I like to do is to get inspiration from other people, like Instagram accounts. I like to make some saved albums of different countries in my saved Instagram and Pinterest kind of photos and that kind of thing, and that way I can look at them and just think, that's gonna be me if I keep working towards my goal. So anything that's gonna motivate and inspire you is awesome, and I definitely recommend doing it. My next tip would be to check those pesky subscription services that you are signed up for. I believe there's actually apps now that you can download, and they'll go through your bank account and figure out what payments are going where, because I know that I've definitely signed up to too many subscription services and I lose track of them, stop using them, but I'm still getting monthly or weekly account charges, even if it's just a couple of dollars. If you can figure out what those are and cancel them if you're no longer using them, that is a really great idea to save money. Along with that is gym memberships. If you're not using your gym membership, then it might be time to quit, because that money can add up really fast. Or if you're on a super expensive gym membership, then maybe look at going to a cheaper gym. That's what I did, and figured out that I would actually save like a couple $1,000s by the end of the year, which is quite a lot. But at the same time, you don't want to compromise on your mental health. So if you're going to the gym all the time and you're loving it, then you should probably stick with it. But if not, might be time to save another dollar that way. Another thing I personally like to do is to stretch out hair appointments. If you're a guy watching this, or if you don't dye your hair, this one's not really applicable. But for me, dyeing my hair costs a lot of money, but I try to do it now only really twice a year, and I used to do it every 2 months. So I save a ton of money doing this. And what I do with my hair now is I just do the like kind of more natural balayage type look. I'm loving it. It's just so much easier to maintain, and it still looks great for months on end. It's been almost half a year again since I've last dyed my hair, and I'm still quite happy with it, so I'll totally recommend doing that. It's another great one for saving money. Another thing you can do if you're going on a trip where you are wanting to book hotels is to use the same website to get loyalty discounts. This isn't sponsored or anything, but booking.com is a really good one. I've used them for a while. They often have, I think I had a $20 discount code through them, and the more you use them, the cheaper it becomes when you're booking new hotels through them, which is awesome. And the other thing is, people often go to Airbnb as a cheap option, but I find that in some cities Airbnb is actually really expensive, so it may be cheaper to stay in hostels. And I know the idea of sharing a room with 10 other people does not sound amazing, but you can also get private bedrooms in hostels, which can still work out significantly cheaper than Airbnbs. So I'd absolutely recommend doing that. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these tips and tricks, and if you've got any more that I haven't mentioned, please leave them in the comments, because I'm sure myself and others would love to know as many money saving tactics we can come up with. Once again, please let me know where you plan on traveling next, and just remember, it's up to you, but once you've made the conscious decision that you are going to go on this trip and you are going to save for it, if you work hard, plan and budget and follow some of these tips, I'm absolutely certain you can have the trip of a lifetime. I wish you guys all the best on your future travels, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now, guys.